I know I don't agree with everything that Impact Wrestling does. I don't agree with everything Impact Wrestling does. I don't like everything Impact Wrestling does. I don't believe everything that Impact Wrestling does. But the fact of the matter is, Impact Wrestling is still, in my opinion, one of the more underappreciated wrestling companies today and deserves some attention every now and again when you can just remind people so that you can just remind people that they are still out there and that they are still giving you an option outside of the mainstream of professional wrestling. With that being said, though, that is tonight Impact Wrestling Under Siege, live on Fite.tv and Impact Plus. It starts with the countdown to Under Siege and two pre-show matches, one of them being an Impact Wrestling Knockouts tag team match, including the Coven against the Death Dolls. That is Courtney Rush and Jessica Havoc against Tyler Wilde and Kylie Lynn King in a tag team match, the Coven versus the Death Dolls. And also tonight, the Countdown to Under Siege will house a Digital Media Championship match as Dirty Dango challenges the Digital Media Champion, Joe Hendry. If only it was actually true that if you said his name, he appears. But do you believe in Joe Hendry? Because I believe in Joe Hendry. It is, I mean, I don't necessarily understand the concept of the digital media title, but at the same time, I don't think with his media presence, I don't think that there's anybody that fits that title better than Joe Hendry. And now we move to what might be the first match on. It may not be the first match on the pay-per-view, but it is the first match listed on ImpactWrestling.com. It is the Design in a six-man tag team match against Sami Callihan, Rich Swann, and a mystery partner. Impact Wrestling never fails to disappoint, in my opinion, when it comes to bringing in new talent and making fans surprised, or shocking fans in some cases, as to who they are able to bring in as new talent within the ranks of the company. It is surprising in some cases, though, if you look at it from the perspective of a former Impact Wrestling fan or a longtime Impact Wrestling fan, the fact that Sami Callihan is teaming up with his former rival, Rich Swann, in a six-man tonight against the Design shows how much common enemies can bring people together. It is also tonight when ABC, Chris Bay, and Ace Austin will team up to defend the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team title against Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, alongside Danny Luna, as the UK wrestling scene has their hottest prospects coming, or the hottest team in the UK wrestling scene, come to Impact Wrestling to try their luck against the tag team champions. And now we move up as X Division veteran Chris Sabin will challenge the reigning, defending X Division champion Trey Miguel for the X Division championship tonight at Under Siege. Trey Miguel has been proving that he will do anything to remain X Division champion, and the real test comes tonight when he has to test himself against one of the founding members of the X Division, a pioneer of Impact Wrestling, in Chris Sabin. And now we move up to a number one contender match the winner will get a shot at the coveted Impact Wrestling World Championship. It involves a number of former champions, including Eddie Edwards, Moose, Jonathan Gresham, Yue Umora, Alex Shelley, and of course Frankie Kazarian, as this six-pack challenge will has every possibility of becoming the match of the night, or being the match of the night, I should say. Not becoming the match of the night, being the match of the night. And giving somebody like Jonathan Gresham or Alex Shelley, or even Yumino or Umora, I don't know why I keep calling him Yumino, Yue Mora, the opportunity to become the number one contender for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. And now the first big test since his return at Rebellion for the man who helped reestablish Sweet Charlotte as a prize in professional wrestling, the former Mr. NWA, Nick Aldis, as Nick Aldis wants this shot at the Impact Wrestling World Championship. He will go one-on-one with Kenny King as he earns his way to a shot at the world title. Giselle Shaw will be Trinity's first pay-per-view opponent in Impact Wrestling, and a big test for the former women's champion in WWE as Trinity continues to establish herself outside of the walls of that company in Connecticut. Speaking of women's wrestling, Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuoso, will fight her longtime rival Jordan. What? Hi. Will fight Jordan Grace for the Impact Wrestling World Knockouts World Championship. And if Grace loses, Grace will no longer get the opportunity to challenge for the World Championship as long as Purrazzo holds the Knockouts title. And speaking of the world title, no holds barred for the Impact Wrestling Championship, Steve Maclin against PCO, as the monster in Impact, the monster of Impact, will get the opportunity to challenge for the World Championship against the unproven World Champion who is still finding his way as... Alright, as the Impact Wrestling World Champion. And that is Under Siege from Impact Wrestling tonight on Fite.tv. If you are looking for wrestling tonight, look no further than live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Impact Plus, YouTube for Impact Wrestling Ultimate Insiders, and Fite.tv, that is Impact Wrestling Under Siege, Macklin, PCO, Purrazzo, Jordan Grace. It's going to be a hell of a night for Impact Wrestling, and I hope you enjoy. That is it for me, and I will see you in the next one.